All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. Carter uh, is out today. Richie is out today. I am flying solo again, just to start this thing off. We got some topics we got going today. Um, just wanted to go over with what's going on in college football. Some of the scores. We do have Conference USA action kicking off tonight. We have Texas State and the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns going on uh, as we speak right now, and then New Mexico State, Florida International, and then for a little bit of a nightcap, we have got the Louisiana Tech taking on Sam Houston. We got all of those things rolling tonight. Um, it is a great night for college football. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So the college football thing that we got going on. Uh, we got producer Ed behind the scenes tonight producing the show, and we got the college football uh, playoff chances, or their odds of making the college football playoff are what we're gonna have tonight. As soon as producer Ed gets that graphic up and ready to roll for us, so it's just one of those shows that we're just gonna take a look at some things here and see what we got going. And as we get going, for the people, can you hit the like and subscribe button and help us help us grow this channel as we are working on doing that. So with that being said, we'll hop into the first graphic with the college football. Um, the odds to make the playoff, we see Tulane down there, UNLV, Washington State getting a little love, which is pretty interesting to me. Ole Miss is they are they are fighting it pretty tough out there down there in Oxford. LSU took that bad loss on the road against Texas Tech, or not Texas Tech, Texas A&M. Um, and then you have Pitt. Pitt has a huge game this week, which is going to determine a lot of things in the ACC picture that are going to be shaping up. Uh, because they take on SMU. SMU undefeated in conference play, so is Pitt. And then you have Army. Army's got Notre Dame coming up pretty soon, I believe next week, playing at Yankee Stadium. And then a team that we moved down the way a little bit, the Clemson Tigers have hung on for the better part of the year quietly. They've been creeping around in the shadows, just like a guy named Mr. Combs creeping around in the shadows. What are they doing? They're sneaking up on people. That's what the Clemson Tigers are doing. Them and Dabo. Um, Kansas State, and one of the big things that I find interesting here is the Big 12 race is going to get very, very interesting down the stretch, because BYU and Iowa State don't play each other, which is really, really just strange to me. Uh, so Kansas State, they're on a trajectory to. I don't have their last part of their schedule pulled up, but I'm gonna pull that up just to see their last couple of opponents, because I feel like there's going to be maybe one or two spots in the Big 12, and there's really four teams vying for those spots right now. Iowa State, Kansas State, and BYU, and the Colorado Buffaloes, on an outside chance, even though you don't see them on the graphic, could be making a push for the college football playoff if some of the things on their schedule bounce just right. That is something that a lot of people aren't talking about. But let me get Kansas State's schedule pulled up here. Um, the last couple, the last couple of their last couple opponents, they got to go to Houston, got Arizona State, not going to be easy. Even though they got them at home, then they got Cincinnati at home, and then they got to go on the road to Iowa State, which I don't know about you. I've been to Ames, Iowa one time, not on, not in the wheelhouse of traveling. Ames, Iowa. Sorry, Matt Campbell. Being a Matt guy, like the guy, but sorry, brother, can't do it. Can't do it. Ames, Iowa, not so good for business. But the the other intriguing team on this list, we'll pull up Old Miss's last couple opponents. They lost that game at home to Kentucky, and that Kentucky loss seems really, really bad. So, and then they lost in overtime to LSU. They got the Hogs this weekend. They got to go on the road at Fayetteville. Not going to be easy. And then you got the Georgia Bulldogs coming to town, and then you got to go to Gainesville, to the Swamp, to take on Mr. G5 Billy himself in DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators. And then you round it out with the Egg Bowl. So on that weekend of Thanksgiving. So, really, if you look at Ole Miss's schedule, they could go 3-1 or 1-3. Or they could go 0-4. Just depending on, I think, this Arkansas game, for Ole Miss's playoff chances to stay alive. This Arkansas game is huge, as some people would say. And then, moving on down the graphical ways a little bit, you have Texas A&M. Mike Elko, year one. Wow, what a transformation that Texas A&M has done from week one till now. Texas A&M knocking it out of the park as far as, they got that big win against LSU, and the big thing that Texas A&M does is they just keep on winning. And then moving to the third row of this graphic, you've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Are they going to make the playoffs? Is Alabama a playoff team? 2 years ago, nobody would have ever thought or maybe even said, man, could Alabama not be a playoff team? Well, the Vandy loss in Tennessee, this makes this LSU game a pseudo playoff game, in my opinion. Just moving forward. So it is not conducive for good behavior to be playing at LSU at night. Alabama kind of, this schedule is not the hardest schedule in the world, but, a couple inopportune losses. So you have that rolling around out there. So I don't know if Alabama is able to get it done. Looking at the back half of the schedule, you got to go to LSU, and then you have Mercer, and then they have Oklahoma and Auburn. You got to go to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma couldn't play dead in the Western on offense. So I think that, this LSU game is an elimination game, because whoever loses this game is going to be eliminated from the college football playoff. But with that being said, a lot of people are counting out Alabama, even though the numbers say that they're higher for to make the playoffs if they could get 4 teams in there, but I just don't see it. Tennessee, the Tennessee still got to play Georgia. Just going up a foot here. Tennessee's got Kentucky, Mississippi State, Georgia, UTEP, Vandy could be a very interesting ride for the Vols. But, BYU, uh, going down the Alabama rung here, BYU, they're pretty much in the driver's seat. As long as they went out, they should be fine. Notre Dame is an interesting caveat. Me and Carter cover a ton of Notre Dame stuff on this channel. Just limited to location. Notre Dame's biggest issue that could keep them out of the college football playoff is themselves. They had the one real bad loss at the beginning of the year to Northern Illinois. Everybody knows what that is, what it was. It just, that's what it is. So when it comes to the Notre Dame stuff, Notre Dame, you're your own worst enemy when it comes to this, because if they went out, they're in. Take another loss, you're not getting in. That's just it. That's just the harsh reality of it. There's only 11 spots. You got 4 conference champions, and if it comes down to resumes, Notre Dame's hosed on the resume, because you can't tell me that their schedule matches up even to a bad ACC schedule. That's the problem with Notre Dame if they end up at 10-2. Because you could argue a 10-2 Clemson would be better than a 10-2 Notre Dame, because Clemson has one of the tougher schedules because they play 10 Power 4 opponents on their schedule. Notre Dame played 2 service academies and 3 MAC schools. That's even if, and you have 1 L to a MAC school. So that's the tough part with Notre Dame. Do you want Notre Dame in the playoff? Yes. Brand recognition, all that. But, the late, great James Yoder said that they may not have a college football playoff because the University of Michigan is not in it. But if you know anything about Yoder, you know what Yoder's doing. Could we be the same way with Notre Dame and say, oh, you just might as well shut it down? No Notre Dame, no Alabama. Well, this is something that's very telling that's coming in college football. The tide is changing. Some of the blue bloods are, they're on the verge of being found on road dead. Alabama don't make this playoff, the internet is going to melt in Tuscaloosa. Some people don't agree with that, but the internet will melt in Tuscaloosa, and they will want to they'll want to fire Kalen DeBoer. So that's just what it is. Then we move on to the highest ranked group of 5 team, Boise State, another team. Even though they're going to get the 12 seed, they completely control their own destiny. As long as Boise State wins out, they don't play a soul the rest of the year in their Mountain West Conference. So they should should be in the 12. I already talked about Tennessee. Now here is an upstart team. I know my co-host Carter is really down. The Indiana Hoosiers, the Kirk Cignetti experience. Cignetti undefeated, obviously, right now. You can argue Indiana hasn't played a soul either. That is not a unfair argument to this point. But we're gonna find out how good Cignetti and the Hoosiers are. They got to go to Michigan State. Then their last couple are Indiana, Ohio, or not Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue are their last 3 games. And I know everybody is, really like Ryan Walters, but, everybody is really gearing up for the Purdue game. Purdue, the vaunted Boilermakers. Maybe they might make some offense. Highly doubt it. Then we get to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Been in the news recently. A lot of talk, a lot of Ryan Day talk, a lot of Jim Knowles talk, a lot of Chip Kelly talk, a lot of shit getting thrown on the field, kind of Bush League by the Buckeye fans. Some people call it, there's actually a clip out there that I found that I sent to a couple people that when things were getting thrown on the field, it was somebody recording on the sideline. And, oh, no, there's a woman that says, oh, no, things are getting thrown on the field. Well, it changed the call at Texas. This is the precedent that's been set now. So if the NCAA does not step in and fix this problem, you're going to have nets around your stadiums. So congratulations, Texas, Ohio State. You threw shit on the field. Now everybody has to have a net in front of them, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world. So that being said, we'll move on to the University of Texas. They have huge odds to make the college football playoff as well. The one of the big knocks is that Texas and Oklahoma always said, we can compete in the SEC. Well, when it comes to Texas, I think they're, equipped well for this. They took that loss to Georgia, excuse me. And then, Texas has got an idle week. Then they go take on the Gators, and they got Arkansas, Kentucky. Then there's a huge showdown with Texas A&M. That is a big game for people not paying attention out there. That is a huge game for both schools because that's going to probably determine who plays in the SEC championship game. Texas A&M, if everybody keeps winning and we are on that trajectory, that is a huge game. It's probably going to come down to who's going to go play Georgia in the SEC championship game. So, we are closing in on that time. We'll get to the final row here. If you're watching out there, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube, come on over from Twitter to YouTube and enter the conversation if you have any questions at all, and we can get it going. So, Georgia, I fully expect Georgia to win out. Penn State has Ohio State this weekend, big noon, because Fox hates everything that has to do with night games, and they don't want to compete at all because they're, a bunch of pansies. So we're going to play Penn State, Ohio State at noon, which is just the most ridiculous thing in the world. And I'd rather see that as a night game, but that's just me. But here's a fun fact tiebreaker about the Big Ten that producer Ed, you might want to listen up on this one. Yeah, Cameron James Franklin can't beat anybody when it matters. That is pretty true. The tiebreaker is margin of victory versus common opponents. I've seen this. If Penn State beats Ohio State by 4 and Indiana beats them by 5, you know who gets left out of the conference championship game? Oregon. So just a little food for thought there, because it may or may not come down to that. You never know. So we shall see how that pans out. Oregon, I don't see how they don't roll. Miami, I don't see how they don't roll. I think it's going to be Miami, Clemson. So, and then I believe the next graphic producer Ed has for us is the actual bracketology whenever Ed puts down his ham sandwich. He likes his ham sammy with mayonnaise and cheese. Producer Ed does, anyway. All right. Now that we have the college football bracketology up, here's something that, I've been banging the drum on this for a while. I know since Carter's not here today, he can't refute it, but when you go to the group of 5 in the number 12 seed, the Tulane Green Wave are creeping up in there. They're getting there. Don't let Summerall in the playoffs. Don't let Summerall in the playoffs is all I'm saying. And then you have the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, which they're in action right now, losing currently 6-0 to Texas State. So they take another L. That could completely torpedo their playoff chances. Then you have Army, Navy, and UNLV, and then you have two teams from the American, one from the Mountain West, or two from the Mountain West, and one from the Sun Belt. So all conferences pretty equally represented in the group of five, you know. Um, and then we go to the first four out. Tennessee, that's a very interesting. Tennessee, Iowa State, and Alabama Pitt. And I would say Pitt is on that first four out just for the simple fact of uh they've got SMU this weekend. And then you look at the matchups, Texas A&M, Miami. I would watch. That would be offense galore. And then you have Texas, Boise State, which I'm not shocked by that at all. And I kind of think it's a little dumb you would have IU versus Ohio State, and then Penn State, Notre Dame, and then Oregon, BYU, Georgia, Clemson, all with your buys. So in this graphic, me and Carter talked about this. In this graphic, the SEC's only got 3 teams. So this is a very interesting look at it. In the Big 12, only got 1. So this is an interesting split. Or no, sorry, the SEC has 3. The Big 10 has 4. Then Notre Dame. So we'll have to see how this shakes out. As far as bracketology goes, and then one of the other things that we have, that's one last thing on that. The Big Ten may get 4 teams. James Franklin, Richie. Hopefully everybody's all right. Rich. With the family emergency, tough situation. I know. But Richie is a co-host here on the platform. But as far as James Franklin goes, when was the last time he beat Ohio State? 2016, I believe. So we'll have to see. Am I hopeful that Penn State will put up a fight? Yeah, because I want to see a good game. But you know, we got to keep it realistic here. Is James Franklin going to be James Franklin? Is it going to be like a Scooby-Doo episode in lieu of Halloween where they just pull off the mask and it's James Franklin as James Franklin, and it says, if it wasn't for you damn kids and this meddling dog, we would have something here, right? So with that being said, producer Ed has a graphic for Coaches of the Week, which is a really good segue into where we're going here, to where we're trending. As Dr. Brown says in Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads. So if you could zoom it in just a little bit, Ed, so I could read the names. Okay, we got Coaches of the Week, which I think are very interesting. Mike Elko, brother, I'd be wearing a white hoodie instead of a white one. He does look large and in charge. So as we're reading the names off here, we got Pat Narduzzi, Mac Brown, ACC, can't complain there. Coaches of the Week, and then we have the AAC, John Summerall, and I cannot read the bottom name. Then we got PJ Fleck, and Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore got co-coach of the week because he beat Michigan State. Yikes. That's how far their standards fallen, but I digress. Neil Brown at West Virginia. Can understand that. guy. I know that I can recognize the logo. Sherrod Moore. Sherrod Moore, Coach of the Week is bad. Yeah, I know. And then Joe Moorhead, and I'm assuming the guy from Miami of Ohio. Mountain West looks like maybe San Jose State. Sunbelt is the coach from Old Dominion, and then Mike Elko. So we got through that, but yes, I totally agree with you on this. Sherrod Moore, Coach of the Week, not so good, but you know, Sherrod, the Michigan thing, Jack Tuttle, just not a whole good situation there. Um, is what we got rolling, and then uh, it might be time to reset the show, but for everybody watching out there, um, oh yeah, I got you. Thank you, producer Ed. For everybody out there watching, time to reset the show. If you're watching on Twitter or any of the other streaming sites, please hit the like and subscribe button to help us grow the show. We're about at the 30-minute mark. We are midway through the show. We are just cooking along, just like Carter, cooking a brisket at like 210, very dry. Uh, he was cooking a Lincoln Riley esque brisket the last time. I can make fun of him because he's not here. It's just producer Ed. It looked rough. It looked like a cutting board snapped in half, the brisket. So as soon as Carter sees this back, he is probably going to say that is not true. That is fake news. We got, I just, you know, producer Ed said that's not very nice. So, um, we'll just everybody stop making fun of Carter's brisket, but like and subscribe. Follow us on social media. Maybe Carter will redeem himself, smoke a brisket, put it on his TikTok. Follow Carter on TikTok. He is doing some smoking endeavors and stuff like that. The last time he did do that, he made some smoked mac and cheese. Actually, looked pretty good. So, but saying Coach Prime is leaving lets me know you really don't know what's going on. LOL. It's halfway through of what I'm doing, so I haven't got there yet. That's that's the whole premise of what I'm talking about. I haven't got there yet. I went on a random tangent, but we've got there are some things that do play a role in what's going on because a lot of the mainstream shows have not picked up the House versus NCAA either. So, judging by me making this statement and me making this show and doing this show tonight, lets me know that you're not paying attention to what's really going on in college athletics. So, um, by me making that statement, so what is your proposal for the $25 million that each university's got to come up with? Um, that's all I'm wondering. 25 million dollars that they have to come up with to be in sanction with Title IX, and what sports are you going to cut, and where are you going to find the money to give Deion Sanders a Mike Norvell extension? Is all I'm wondering. Does the University of Colorado have an extra $75 million? What about extending Coach Sapp? What about extending Coach Lowroll, like Matt McChesney said on 0 to 60? What about extending all these guys in the support staff and stuff like that? Well, they have a $25 million bill that they have to come up with next year. Is anybody gonna, offer any reverence on that? Look it up on Ross Dillinger's Twitter. Posted a story about it. This is what is coming to college athletics because people wanted uh, NIL with no regulation. This is the stark reality of what we have coming at the college collegiate level. Everybody thought it was all fun and games to get paid with no repercussion, no oversight, no collective bargaining agreement. Well, if you go look at the cold hard numbers, look at how many it's going. That's all I'm saying, and that's why I asked the question: does Colorado have the money to pay Deion Sanders the type of extension that all the other coaches are getting? Because if I'm Deion Sanders, I don't take a hometown discount because of the turnaround job. But we'll get to the last graphic that we have. Florida State. Producer Ed is what we got rolling. We've got Florida State, Chief Osceola riding Renegade, throwing the spear into the middle of the field, just like the graphic they're gonna that producer Ed is going to um, throw out here whenever he puts down that ham Sammy that also has a piece of bologna on it. Producer Ed, why are you eating ham and bologna at the same time? I just with mustard too. Yes, Florida State, Mike Norvell, the transfer portal king himself. Mind you, at the same time, they had the same opportunity to hire Deion Sanders. All of Norvell's top wide receiver commits have bowed out, which is very very interesting to me. That I find really interesting. Um, their wide receiver recruiting is looking very similar. Bro, you think it's about money? He stated it's never been about money plenty of times. So okay, so we want to go down this road of that it has nothing to do with money. It really has nothing to do with money. You think he's going to coach the fucking Buffaloes for free when everybody else around him's getting multi-million-dollar year extensions? Look at Mike Norvell. What's Norvell's buyout? 70 some million dollars? You don't think he wants to get paid too for all the time and all the effort and everything that he's put into Colorado? They were 1-11 and he turned them around. They're 6-2. They're now bowl eligible. You really think he's going to do it for free or half rate? Come on, man. What reality are you living in? I literally said a lot of nothing. A lot of nothing. So you think it's right that all the other coaches get paid and we just don't pay Deion? He should just do it for free? I don't get that logic at all. I'm sure why'd Kirby Smart get an extension? Why'd anybody of consequence get an extension? Hell, even Nick Saban got raises. You don't think Deion deserves a raise for everything that he's done at Colorado? That is just very, very strange that you don't think he deserves to get a raise or do it for half of whatever he's getting paid. Like it's just really strange to me that a lot of these other coaches can get raises and get extensions, but don't extend Deion. We don't want to keep him. What do you mean? You went from 1-11. He's already made his money and he's worth more than every other college coach. Then why is he coaching then? Why is he even taking a salary then? That is just that is really strange. That is very strange. It's a very strange thought process. That is a very strange thought process. But, you know, don't pay him and see what happens because I bet you don't give him a raise. I bet he would leave. That's the way he should be doing it for free. Oh, Richie. Oh, Richie. Yeah. Why would we pay him at all? We shouldn't give anybody NIL there either. It should just all come out of Prime's pocket. I mean, that is. He stated he doesn't want money plenty of times. Well, I would think in good faith and good gesture, you should pay him. Pay him what he's worth, or at least pay the staff what they're worth. But the reason why I asked the question is because the universities, yeah. I mean, he's not doing Affleck commercials for free. I mean, shit. Even Saban's doing them. he wants he he loves the game and wants to create men on and off the field. I'm not arguing that. He's already lived that life. Then why is he on every goddamn commercial on Saturday then if he's lived that life? KFC, Aflac, uh Oh, I'm sure he probably doesn't want to leave Colorado, but all I asked is can you pay him? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean all these endorsement deals, I'm sure that if you ask Florida State right now that's holding a bag of 1-7. Yeah, because if they can't pay him, what's the point of staying? That's the whole purpose of it. I don't think you even know what's going on with them cutting scholarships that come down to what's going on in college athletics. Because when it comes, everybody's going to be freaking out because you're only going to have probably in the next 18 months, you're probably only going to have uh ooh, Richie. That's an unpopular opinion. I bet Jerry's going to pay him some money. And that's also a fair point right there. FSU did not believe and they're holding a bag of 1-7 right now. But what I'm saying is when it comes to these budgets in athletic departments, you're going to have to make cuts. They're cutting 3 to 5,000 student athletes this year across all sports at major universities. They have to come up with a 25 million extra dollars at how many athletic programs. Exactly. That's your logic. Yeah, do you understand that they're getting rid of whole sports out of college athletics here in 93 Wines? Like, do you understand that because I'm talking to you, they're getting rid of 3 to 5,000 just this year. I don't think you understand that in an athletic department that was not prepared to come up with an extra $25 million in their budget. That's what they have to come up with to pay for NIL. That's why the graphic says the graphic, because I don't know if CU can come up with that money. They're making money right now. It's great. It's fine and dandy. But that's all I'm saying. Because there's going to be some coaches that don't get fired that really should get fired because universities can't afford to pay buyouts. That's the problem you're going to run into. Whether Florida wants to, we'll take Billy Napier. Do you think Florida's got an extra $50 million sitting around to come up with the new thing the House has came up with the NIL and to pay a buyout? And that's, this is also a good point too. I think CU could probably raise the funds to keep everything rolling. That is just what I'm saying though. Yeah, I think so, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to some of these other coaches out there that are getting huge long-term extensions, Coach Prime should be on there too. Hey, 93 Wines, you have no idea. Go read Ross Dillinger's article. I sincerely encourage you to go read that because sports are going away because they can't afford it. I promise you, go read Ross Dillinger's article on what's going on. They're already telling volleyball kids, they're already telling cross country people, they're telling track people, you don't have a scholarship here anymore. That is factual. None of the other mainstream media outlets are reporting on it because they think it's going to get magically resolved. And yes, I believe Dion is building it the right way in Colorado. I think he got hosed off the beginning because he got there late because he was at Jackson State, tying up all those loose ends, the bowl game and etc. So, yeah. And I think, college football wise, it's going to be really plentiful at the University of Colorado as long as they can keep Dion there because it's really tough, with the transfer portal and immediate eligibility, the kids you have coming in. This is this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the House versus NCAA. This is what I'm talking about because people don't understand what it's going to do to college athletics. They're getting rid of 3 to 5,000 scholarship athletes this year. Do you understand that? Dion's got money for uh you know 18, 19, 20, 25 kids at Colorado. Is that what you're saying? He's going to supplement the athletic department? That's what I'm saying. But uh me and this 93 Wines are talking about two totally separate things than what me and you are talking about right here. The the biggest thing that I encourage people to do is go read Ross Dillinger's article on what is going on with college athletics. Because before it's all said and done, I think we're only going to have 3 or 4 sports in college athletics. Before it's all said and done, it's going to be football, basketball, girls basketball, and probably softball. That's what we're going to be left with before it's all said and done. Because they have deemed it that they're calling it whatever, profit sharing instead of revenue sharing. So they are they are taking Basically, they're just going to run the athletic departments like a business because that is what they've been pushed to when it comes to NIL and things of that. And I'm not advocating for the kids not to get paid. I am just saying that this is what they're doing and people don't know this yet. That is the problem, and that's why I brought up the question, can CU keep Dion? Do they have the money to keep him? And the same thing with other universities. I just happen to pick a popular coach, and you get people like 93 Wines that say he's going to put his own money in the. No, he's not. If I'm Deion Sanders, no, I wouldn't. It's a bad investment. Oh yeah, I'm not saying that he's not doing great things. He's doing great things in Colorado. But what I'm saying is that he cannot supplement the athletic department. I mean, you could probably go out and try to raise the money to keep some sports, but that's what I'm saying is that should Prime stay at Colorado whenever somebody right. And that's what me and 93 Wines were just he wanted to argue with me about whether they're getting rid of sports or not, and he says Dion puts his own money into it, maybe into the football program. You think he's putting money into underwater basket weaving? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? But I like ROI on my money, so that's just all I'm saying. But yeah, he's transformed, the University of Colorado into a winner because they had been down for so long. At some point, it is when you put that work in, Dion going into year 3, it's time for a contract extension. They give everybody else a big contract extension. Why not Dion? And then whenever you say, "Oh, it's not about the money," it's not. No. Um, I I think when it comes to a young kid like Cormani, I think the book is out still. Some people said he was a turd. Some people said that he wasn't working out at Colorado. You take a kid from South Florida, uh, everything that he's ever known, you take him out of that environment and stuff him into a different environment. Into Colorado, it's a different mindset. It's just a totally different space, and you know some people wanted to come out and say the kid wasn't doing right and it was a bad fit. Well, in the springtime when Florida took him, they said he was kicked off the team. Well, he's playing at Florida, and you know, being a a young person, uh, maybe Carmody, goes to Gainesville, goes to class, does everything he's supposed to, and maybe graduates and goes and plays in the NFL. And then you can't fault the kid for that. He got out of a situation that wasn't for him, regardless of all the wild stories. Whatever they want to say, whatever they wanted to write. I mean, they wrote that story at the beginning of the year when they were asking him, "Are you strapped up?" And they thought they were talking about guns. So it's just one of the most ridiculous things ever. But on some of these kids, just because they don't work out at a university, they go to another university and it works out for them. Good for them. I don't. I don't want to see why. I don't see why people want to try to shit on kids that are just want to be something they're not. Marshawn Lynch is the chief. Want to play ball and be themselves, not want to be an Amazon store. Hey, it's different strokes for different folks right now in college football because everybody's got Oh, I think so. I think they're on the way to building a powerhouse. They just got to make sure that they can keep him there because I think he's due for a contract extension. He'd take taking a 1-11 team and you push them to almost the playoffs, and then you go into year 3, and let's say Colorado makes the playoff next year with flying colors. Where's his contract extension? I don't think it's too premature because Florida State extended Norvell after 13-0, and you look at what they're holding. They're holding a 1-7. So, but with that being said, we're almost getting ready to close the show out here. 10 minutes, 10 minutes left here in the show. But if everybody could do us a favor that's sitting out there watching, hit the like and subscribe button. Help us grow this show. That's what we're trying to do. If we're just we have my co-host Carter's out today, uh, and our boy Richie. He's a co-host on the show. But if you could hit the like and subscribe button and help us grow this show, that would be great. And we're live Monday through Friday. And if this is your first time watching, leave us a comment uh, where you're watching from. Just curious, just to see what type of reach we get. I know we get it in the analytics, but it's just a right, right where we're at. And then yeah, live show at Cigar 30 in Canton, 11/9. Uh, live, we're going to be live and in person at the cigar shop because that's how we do it here. And we also have one coming up in December. Uh, and the name of the town is evading me right now. In Hubbard, Ohio. Cigarillo, I believe. Richie could probably put it in the name in the put the name of that cigar shop in the chat, and that's what we got. That's what we got rolling coming up here. We're doing some live shows. It's it's got bourbon, cigars, talking balls. So that's what we do. But let me get back to where I was at. Right there. The only problem with the NCAA. I will say this much. Um, oh, there it is. Right there. That's where the other one is going to be in December. But regardless, with the stuff going on, that's one of the things that when we put the title up in the in everything for the show today. Hello from Cabo San. Oh, jeez, here we go. Oh man, Southwest Vegas, shout out. Basically New Vegas, but yeah, that was one of the things that when we put this show together today, we were talking about it. Me and producer Ed, and he kind of surprised me a little bit with the Dion thing, and I'm also challenging people go read Ross Dillinger's article because it's going to be very eye opening. And then whenever the folks out there realize what's going on and what's going on with college athletics, when you realize you have no swimming, diving, you have no Olympic sports at your university anymore, it's going to be, well, how did we get here? Well, nobody wanted to sit down and talk. They just, you know, um, that's what we're talking about out here. Um, and I just cannot get people to this enough. And Deion Sanders is one of the people. Um, Deion Sanders is one of the people that has done nothing but good for college football, And I'm not, this episode is not to try to demean or take a shot and say he doesn't deserve it. He damn sure deserves a contract extension. That is what I'm talking about, because I don't want him to fall casualty of the adults in the room at the NCAA not being able to sit in a room and talk to each other. That is my issue. Because good coaches, whether it's Dion, whether it's Billy Napier, whether it's Ryan Day, whether it's, the list goes on, we need more people to stand up and say, hey, you're not going to take opportunities away from young people. And yes, Richie, and same thing, crypto. And that is something that also that people need to realize is that they are taking opportunities away. They're just not telling you it. And none of the big shows out there are even talking about this. And it's going to get glossed over, and it's going to get lost in the fold. And then all of a sudden, we're not going to have softball one day because they're going to start running it like a business. And almost the majority of every athletic department runs close to being in the red. That is a fact. Why do you think they have paycheck games in football? Why do you think Furman goes and plays Old Miss? Why do you think Middle Tennessee goes and plays Old Miss? Seen. Well, the pack falling apart is two separate things. That was because then people couldn't get their TV together. And next year, me and Carter are definitely thinking about going to Pac-12 Media Day because it was free and they had an open bar. Which two things that I like? Free, open bar, and Vegas. Does it get any better than that? Never been to Vegas. Like to try that out sometime. But that's just one of the things that um why the title is the way the title is, because if CU's got to come up with an extra $25 million, it's going to be a big problem. So, uh, Richie's going wild here, but yeah, but basically for all the new people, go read Ross Dillinger's article. SEC Big Ten out for blood. Well, the big thing that you have when it comes to the Big Ten and the SEC is CBS screwed the pooch on this one because their TV ratings are in the toilet. Because at 3:30 you get the SEC song, and then you get all of that going on. You get all of that going on, and then you have the song pops off, and then you get Minnesota versus Rutgers. So I don't think the TV people are happy. CBS thought that they were big sticking it at one point, and they lost the Golden Goose because you can't tell me at 3:30 that Ole Miss Georgia is going to do anything to what Minnesota Iowa is going to do, even though they're playing for the Floyd of Rosedale, or Michigan State, maybe, but I doubt it. I'm watching Ole Miss. I'm watching Ole Miss Georgia all day. I'm watching Florida Tennessee. I'm watching Kentucky Vandy. Those are more compelling matchups of what we got going on right now. But uh, like producer Ed said in the all of the links are in the bios for the socials. But go check out Ross Dillinger's article. I urge everybody to do that to see what's really going on with college athletics. And there's been people that have been on the forefront for this. And I've been asking a lot of questions. I've talked to some people that said that they were talking to athletic directors and said, okay, well, this all sounds good about the revenue share and things like that. But where is the what are you doing with Title IX? And everybody just kind of sat there and shrugged their shoulders and said, I don't know. So this is your result. Anytime there's an action, there is an equal reaction. So with that being said, everybody go check out Ross Dillinger's article on the NCAA stuff, and be a friend, tell a friend, and hit the like and subscribe button, and help us grow the show. So with that being said, everybody take care and have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow, 7:30, same time. Carter will be back tomorrow, and we'll go over some of these games we got rolling on tonight, and start turning our sights towards the weekend. But with that being said, everybody have a good night. I guess if the stream ever